Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Lead Up for Women Speak Up to Lead Up. Today has been a very eye opening, emotional, come to my senses day. And I'm going to explain it like this. I have been in imposter syndrome mode. I have been in every mode you can think of because I have a big event coming up. And when you have a big event coming up, and all the bells and whistles are happening, and you have sponsors that are depending on you, and you're putting butts in seats, you get a little overwhelmed, and that overwhelm turns into anxiety, and that anxiety is only caused by the choices that we're making. And those choices I've been making are to listen to so many other people. And I wanted to bring that message today because I did a very long raw video this morning on Facebook and on Instagram. And I was crying, and it was all about me just getting out in my safe and nurturing environment of a community that I created for this reason, is because I woke up this morning and was on these live early, Zooms. And I thought to myself, why am I so anxious? Why do I have so much anxiety when I talk to certain people? Or why do I have that? And it's because they're giving me all this advice, and I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. When I know all the answers are inside of me, I know what I need to do. I know. And when I realized, why am I doing this? I need to just shut everything out and do what I do, because that's how God created me. I need to be who I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to bring to this 3-day event what I'm supposed to bring. And that's to show a female that we see you, that I validate you, that you're important and you are beautiful. And that no matter what you do in your life, do it the way you're supposed to do it, with your heart and your soul. And that's what I'm supposed to feed in that person. And when I woke up this morning and that happened, and I got anxious again and I stopped, I came online with a lot of tears because it was a realization for me. It wasn't a sadness, it was a happiness. So I'm going to encourage each one of you listening on this podcast today, because we're going to be talking a lot about how to engage with people and surrounding yourself with the people that fuel your success, that matter, that are true connections. And how do we cultivate and create those connections? You need a community like that of people that love you, support you, are there for you, and that you can just be raw with. And I'm glad that happened this morning for me, because I'm not being weak, but let me tell you, women don't come out and show that side of themselves because we've been told not to be emotional in business. But guess what? I'm not just going to cry in the shadows or behind the corner, because if I cry in front of you and I show real emotion of what I'm struggling with and the courage it takes to do that, then I hope that you receive that gift too, and that you're able to show up for you, and you're able to show up for what you represent, because someone out there's praying for you right now and they need you in their life. And if you're standing back in the shadows and you're not showing up, then they're going to miss out on that. And you could change the trajectory of their life forever. So remember that message today that I'm sharing with you. Okay, off the soapbox. Janice, Miss Janice Porter, my beautiful guest today. Janice and I met not too long ago, and I feel like we have just been fast friends from the second that we met. And what I love about Janice Porter, and of course I'll read her bio to you, but I always want to share from my heart what I feel about a person. And what I feel about Janice is like a warm hug. Janice literally is a true connection, a great friend to have, someone who is there to lift you, serve you, help you. I brought her into my private group of clients to teach them about engaging and connecting differently than I would teach them. She's going to be a sponsor at our 3-day event, the LEAP event, coming up on August 11th. If you guys are listening to this after the event, go check out all the information about the event, because I'm sure I'll have one next year. But what I love about Janice is she's just real. She's a connector. She's a business owner. She's a grandma, just like me. And let me read a little bit about her. She talks about beginning her career as a teacher. She was a corporate trainer for many years. So her and I both have that corporate background as well. And she really has found her niche in coaching business owners to network at a world-class level. So we're going to talk about world-class level. What does it mean to network at that level today? For the past several years, she owned her own business. She's committed to showing others how to grow their businesses. She trains, helps them build and sustain solid relationships with past, present, and future customers that lead to more sales and more referrals. She prides herself being the consummate networker and successfully connecting people for mutual benefit. How important is that? Are we connecting for a mutual benefit? She's been involved with various organizations and has built up a vast network that enables her to connect with like-minded people, which is really how we got connected. So Janice Porter, welcome to the show.
Thank you for that kind introduction and for bearing your soul at the beginning of the call, because I think that's so important that people need to see that as successful as you are, you can still be vulnerable and have those anxieties and have those doubts. I don't know if you follow the Olympics at all, but as we are speaking this morning, a big thing happened yesterday where Simone Biles, who is like the
oh, I know who Simone Biles is.
Champion of all champions in gymnastics, stepped down from the competition, that the team competition, because she was having doubts. She was feeling some vulnerability about herself, and she did the right thing because she had to take care of herself. But it happens to anybody. It can happen to anybody, right? So I thought that was really, really telling, actually, the pressure that we put on ourselves, the pressure that other people put on us. So I just wanted to add to that and say, yeah, you did good.
You know, this is a great topic to talk about today, Janice, because from you going from corporate to becoming an entrepreneur, you've felt all those pressures, you've felt all those anxieties, you've felt all the vulnerabilities and the pressure to perform, right? So
well, here's the major difference, if I may, around that for me. So I taught school, and yes, I had to know where I was going from point A to point B with my kids and, get them to a certain place. When I left teaching, I kind of fell into this corporate training thing. It started with part-time soft skills training, like customer service and that kind of thing. And it ended up being complicated phone systems and voicemail systems that I was teaching people how to program, how to use, from the end user to the IT person. And so there was a lot involved, but the thing that I didn't have to do was go out and market myself and find those customers. And when that gig, which was actually a contractor gig for 18 years, it was the longest contracting gig I've ever had. Anyway, when it ended, I had to reinvent myself, and I had to understand how to market myself. I had no idea how to do that. I didn't go to business school. So yes, a lot of fear and trepidation around, and mistakes made and all of that, because I didn't know what I was doing. So it's been.
But I need to ask you this question. All the failures, all the mistakes, everything that's happened along your journey, has it been detrimental to your business, or has it been what's moved you into the paths that you needed to be in for the growth?
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of like one step forward, two steps backwards, along the way. But absolutely, the thing that I learned and took to right away was I needed to get myself out there and get my name out there and network. And that's when, big chambers of commerce and BNI groups and those kinds of things were happening in full force. And I worked that room, baby. I knew how to work that room. And so my name locally got out there because it was all local at the time, right? And that part came naturally to me. It's the, do your business plan and do, all of that back end stuff was not. I didn't know what I was doing. So, it was all learning experiences, but it was all for the better. It all, kept me going along the way. And then I'd learn from other people, and I'd take this course and that course. And it was, now I feel I can teach other people not to make the same mistakes I did, in the sense that, right?
And what
But
would you say in building your business? What was the number one key factor for you, and what has helped you be successful in your business as a female entrepreneur?
I think it was really, and still is, really important for me to pay attention to what other successful people are doing and be curious, because it's that curiosity. I'm always asking questions, and that's how I learn. So I think
I
that,
love that. Yeah. I say it all the time. I think I printed it in my workbook for the event. If learning is beneath you, then leadership is beyond you, right? We should all be sponges. Now,
yes.
with some hesitancy, I say, because watching and learning from other people is brilliant and what we must do. Duplicating and trying to do exactly what other people do is dangerous. Let me tell you why, because it's not you. So when you
Right.
try to duplicate what Janice is doing, or when I try to duplicate what someone else is doing, or if someone tries to duplicate exactly what Colleen Biggs is doing, the problem with that is they're so non-authentic because they're being someone they're not. So the most important piece is number one, your authenticity is what helps you stand out, set an impression, and why people want to connect with you. Because you connect with like-minded people, you attract like-minded people. And we're going to talk with Janice about that in a minute, with building connections with people. But be careful. Learn from those. Don't reinvent the wheel. Learn from those that are successful. Ask those questions. You should never be the smartest person in the room, in any circle or in any room, right? You want to be surrounding yourself with people that are more successful than you and learn from them. How did you do that? How did you build your company to $10 million? I want to know how you did that. I remember one day, Janice, I walked into my boss's office. It was a gentleman named Leo Smart. They had just hired him in to be my boss. I had worked at this company for 15 years. And instead of promoting me, they hired someone in to be my boss above me. You can only imagine how I felt, right?
Of course. That's because it was a male, right? And it
Yeah.
was back.
No, it really wasn't that he was a male, because I knew this person because he golfed with my CEO. He golfed with my senior VP. I actually appreciated this person and liked him. And he has just a whole different demeanor about him, right? He really supports women. And I just remember walking in and sitting down, and I said, okay, well, if they feel that you are the right person for the job, then teach me everything you know. And that's the first thing I said. And
Nice.
I think when he came out of retirement, he was already a millionaire. He wasn't
Huh.
doing this for the money. And I said, teach me how to become a millionaire. And that was like the only thing I said to him.
Hmm.
And my book that I just wrote, that's coming out August 11th, in the dedication I wrote to him and my CEO, thanking them, because it was them that believed in me, that taught me how to think like a CEO and to be a millionaire. And we need these people. Now, I'm not to do what they do, but they taught me how to think that way. And I think
Mhm.
that's, that I know that is strategic and important, but we have to be careful not to
Mhm.
lose the authenticity of who we are in all of that. That doesn't mean you become that person. Just think like that person. What are their habits? What do they do every day? That's why I love Napoleon Hill's book, because he
Mhm.
interviewed hundreds and hundreds of extremely, some of the most successful people of our time back in that day in
Mhm.
1920, 1930.
So there's another more recent book, not as profound as Napoleon Hill's book, but I learned a lot about curiosity from this book. And I don't know if I mentioned it to you when we spoke on my podcast, but it's a book by Brian Grazer. Brian Grazer, Imagine Entertainment. He and Ron Howard are partners, right? Produces many movies and so on. He wrote a book called A Curious Mind. And he has always, from the time he was a child, wanted to interview people. And his grandmother taught him to be curious and always ask questions. And so he interviewed people. And the very beginning is really interesting, of how he became how he got into the movie business. Because as a young Jewish boy. His parents just wanted him to be a lawyer, a doctor, whatever, right? That's the typical. And just the kinds of people that he learned from everybody that he interviewed something else to take him along his path. And I find that book really fascinating too. Easy read, but it, again, same sort of thing. You want to learn from all of these people that have done it, but you want to be true to who you are. And I think, yeah.
Take the advice that we're giving you all today, and go, if you don't have these books, purchase them. Listen to them on Audible when you're walking or when you're driving your car, or if you like the paperback, I spend 1 hour with myself every morning for gratitudes and reading, and I look forward to it. It's something I wake up and I do every morning, and it's my time. And if you look at some of the successes of people that have built successful businesses and are successful, they always, every single one of them, no matter what, hands down said they have time for themselves, no matter what that is, whether it be for them to be in a mastermind together with another group of people, for them to be utilizing books and learning, or for them to have gratitudes or time to meditate or working out or whatever it is. It's so important that we have that time, because we have to keep ourselves strong. So Janice, let's get back to you and more about how you are a connector. What really built you into wanting to be this phenomenal connector of people?
Really, it is, again, goes back to two things. The first thing is my mother, bless her heart. My mother was, without realizing it, the ultimate connector and also the ultimate hostess in her time. But my mother, I watched her, she was a people person, and she's not with us anymore, but she would go away on vacation and she would send postcards to the butcher and the fish lady and all these people that she would visit every week on her, grocery time, that she spent time with, talking and making them feel special. And so she wouldn't send us a postcard if she and dad had gone away. She'd send it to the butcher and the baker and the candlestick maker. And everybody knew my mom based on those kinds of things. And I think I learned it from her, to be honest. And I was always generally outgoing, and I'm curious. And so for me, it's about always learning and finding out about that other person, and whoever it is. Again, just like my mother, I can't help myself.
Isn't that interesting? Because the number one thing that people want to do, they want to know, first of all, what's in it for me, and they want to talk about themselves, right? People love to talk about themselves. They want it to be about them. And when you realize that, then your communication that you have with people and how you connect with them changes, doesn't it? So say, Janice, you work a lot on LinkedIn. So let's move to the LinkedIn platform, which is a brilliant platform. For those of you that don't know that platform, if you are not already on LinkedIn, you need to have a profile there for sure. But knowing how to talk to someone, how to connect with someone, kind of bringing that from your authentic self. There was a lady yesterday that she said she was a good kick in the ass wrapped in a warm hug or something. And I was like, girl, anyone that's a good kick in the ass wrapped in a warm hug, I have to know. It was just that cute little, right?
Yeah.
And I could have gone back and forth and, hey, love to connect with you here, and all the generic things we could say, but that stood out to me. And she sounds kind of like a badass. And I think I want to get to know her because she's not afraid to put out who she is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that happened to me yesterday too. Actually, it's quite interesting. I had done a presentation for a networking organization back east, meaning the Eastern Seaboard in the States, and some of the people that listened and watched connected with me on LinkedIn. And this one woman I think we'd already connected, and she posted on LinkedIn an interesting post about something, a Netflix show that she had some real concerns about. And I just emailed her or messaged her, and we haven't really talked yet. And I said, I would really like to talk to her about that post, because we both came from Jewish backgrounds and we had different takes on this whole thing. And so she just messaged me back and said, absolutely, we need to talk about all of this. Let's do it. And so two things that come to mind. One is exactly what you had said about the badass woman, is that something triggered you to want to cut through the BS and get to the conversation. And the same thing here is that I paid attention to her post, and it created something viscerally for me. So I wanted to say, we need to talk, because I think there's something there about that background. And it shows that, yes, you want to just go for it when it feels right, but also that you need to pay attention on LinkedIn. Like when you reach out and say you want to connect with someone and get to know them, have you even read their profile? Right?
I have.
Because
I mean, if I want to connect
well,
with
of course. Yeah, you have, and I have, and I kind of show it in my message to them, because I want them to know that. So I'll say, I noticed that you love soccer, are you watching blah, 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 or what? I just can find a way to authentically connect with them that shows that I'm paying attention. And that's what I think is missing in most people's initial messages on LinkedIn, or even at face-to-face networking events. Or it's superficial, or they send a message that says, hey, I noticed you're a trainer. I have this program that blah, 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 blah. I don't know you. You don't know me. So how do you know that that's what I want?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of that.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. And, it's really hitting home for me, because we try to blast so much information so wide, and to try and get it to so many people, that by the time it lands, it really isn't authentic or
Yeah,
meaningful,
it's
or,
not
it's not impactful.
sincere,
It's not impactful.
right?
So what if you were to just take some time every day to maybe it's an hour or 30 minutes, and you go on to LinkedIn and just find 5 people to connect with. It just seems to me that if we're more authentic with what we're doing, instead of moving so quick in life and expecting like this instant gratification, that we could make a deeper connection with a certain amount of people without having to kind of blast things wide and far.
Well, and to be honest, when it comes to LinkedIn is sort of stomping on us if we're not doing this now. They're going after the third-party tools that people use to blast out messages. They're only allowing us to have 100 outreach connection requests a month, and it used to be a week. And so that's with the free platform, of course. But the thing is that their message is be real, build relationships, don't try to blast the world and see what falls when you do that. So yes, I've even told people, think about the power of 3. Make 3 new connections a week. Even if you do 3 new connections a week, that's what, 12 a month, that's 60 a year. If they're real connection, is that right? No, 12 times 12, it's 100. No, yeah, 144 a year. So that's still, if you're building connection that works, then they become referral partners, they become strategic partners, they become customers, whatever. So it's just to get into a habit of doing it in a positive way, in a real way, in an authentic way. Yeah, math is not my strong point.
No, I was just going to say, in this instance, size doesn't matter, right? So, and I'm saying that because, a lot of individuals, if they want to have you on a summit or whatever it may be, they require you to have these large lists. So I get a lot of people coming and soliciting me to speak at their events because I have such a large community. But
Yeah.
if I look at the true number and thousands of people that are engaged in my community, those are the ones that I want to focus on. and I'm rebuilding my website right now. We're rebuilding a lot of pieces. Of course, all of you, leadupforwomen.com is what we're talking about. And in doing this, there's a lot of unengaged people, and I'm going to be looking at not bringing them with me in the database when we go to the new website, because I want to truly have a platform of engaged individuals that want to be in the community, that seek information and other connections in the community, and that are utilizing it. If they're not, that's okay. I just want
Mhm.
the ones that are, so that it really, truly is a good resource for other female entrepreneurs to connect with other like-minded women.
It's that the Pareto principle, really, with everything, the 80-20 rule, right? It doesn't matter what it is. It's just, it seems to work for any of it,
Yeah.
20% of the people being engaged, 80% are just hovering, and they're kind of voyeurs in some respect, but they're not engaging. They're not participating in the same way.
Do you want to give some tips to our listeners on how you have found is your little secret sauce? Now, don't give away everything, but how you have found is your secret sauce for connecting with people on LinkedIn. I would love to hear what advice you have for people.
Well, I think I already said one of the important pieces, which is if I'm doing the outreach, then I I learn who do I really want to connect with? Is it a geographic thing? I'm looking to find a certain area because I'm going to visit there, so I want to connect with people there, or is it a certain type of industry that they're in? Do a proper advanced search, and then when you break it down and look for these people, I'm looking for second level connections, because if they're second level connections, that means that we are somehow connected to one person in common at least. Okay, usually it's more. But so knowing that, I can either ask for an introduction. When I find that second level person, I can ask our common connection for an introduction. That takes a little bit longer. So sometimes it might be, here's one thing that I like to do is say, Colleen, I noticed that we're both connected to Jane Smith. I'd love to talk to her. Would you be okay with me using your name as a common connector, like name drop a little bit? Because that way you don't have to take the time. I can just say, hey, I see we're both connected to Colleen. Would you be open to connecting here? So that shortens that span. But then right away there's something
Common.
in common, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, once I start that conversation, once I reach out to connect, and they accept, then I start the conversation. I don't say too much else in the initial connection request, because they don't usually see it anyway. They just accept or not. And then if people are reaching to me to connect, before I accept their connection request, I go to their profile. I take a look. I see, what do I need to know? Is it going to be a worthwhile connection or not? The numbers, again, is not that important to me, how many connections I have. It's whether I can serve them, or whether I can help them with something. So that would be paying attention to what's on their profile. And usually if people are reaching out to you, then they're active on LinkedIn probably. If you're reaching out to people from your search, you have to look at some specific things on their profile to see if they'll even see your connection request, because you will, if you're on LinkedIn, you'll know that there's an activity section. And if that doesn't show any recent activity, they're probably not going to see your connection request. Yeah. So don't waste it on someone like that, because you only have a finite number of connection requests you can send in a lifetime.
I agree.
Yeah.
I get the question all the time, Janice, how did you build Lead Up for Women to be such a large community in such a short amount of time? And the truth is, I didn't. I have been building this community for 15 years. I've been connecting and networking and really nurturing those relationships with people. And the true thing about life and business is, yes, what you know matters, but who you know matters more. And that's a big piece. You can go so much further without all of the, hard work if you know someone, right? If I wanted to try to get to my entertainer that I'm bringing in, we're
Mhm.
having Kim Coles. She's a big entertainer. She was on In Living Color, Living Single. She's coming in as an entertainer. She still does reality TV now and all other TV shows, but she's coming in as our entertainer in the 3-day event. If I did not know someone that knew her, there's no way I would have been able to figure out how to get her into my event. I could have been searching and searching and calling people to try and get to her. But when someone is connected and can open a door for you or knows someone in the entertainment industry, if you don't ask, you don't get. The answer is always
Right.
no, right? So,
Right.
as women, especially, because I have a very heavy women listening community,
Yeah.
you must ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask someone on LinkedIn for a favor. If they know someone, you say, oh my gosh, I've been wanting to get in contact with so and so for a long time. Or, and ask them, do you mind if, I can connect with them and use their name? That gives you credibility already, because that person's like, well, if they're connected to you, they must trust you. So they let down their guard to trust you automatically. So it shortens that a little bit for us, that
Mhm.
relationship and getting to know people. People do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Mhm.
Just the way
You
it
know,
is.
you said two pieces to that though. The first one, which my father is in my head all the time saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. But it's more than who you know, it's who they know. And that's what you just gave as an example. And you don't know who they know if you don't ask,
Mhm.
right? You just don't know. And but there's a bit of a caveat there that I always like to be cautious about, which is um, if you are that person that knows the people that somebody wants to know, you really, again, coming back to that know, like, and trust, you have to feel that it's the right person that you're doing the favor for. Like, you don't want to, your connections you hold close, you don't want to take advantage of someone, right? So you want to be really careful. And I've found that my sister and my best friend in California, they know a lot of celebrities. And that's when you really have to be careful when if you say, oh, can you get me a conversation with so and so, well, I'll use this as an example. So my best friend in California, has bought and sold houses for Ellen DeGeneres. And so I, for years, was like such a fan and watched her show and found her fascinating. But you could never say to my friend, I could never say, oh, please get me a conversation with Ellen. You can't do that,
For
right?
what? Also for what? Like, what?
Well,
Why do you
yeah,
want to
but
have a conversation? What is
yeah,
she have a conversation
but
for?
even to ask,
Yeah,
period, because that's just not done. And
right.
so you have to understand that the know, like, and trust is one thing, but it has to make sense too. And yeah, there's just so much. Yeah, it just made me think of another situation a long time ago where it did work in our favor. My daughter was in grade sixth grade, and she was doing a biography presentation on somebody, and she, for some reason, chose Muhammad Ali, like, of all people, God knows why. But anyway, my sister knew his publicist, and she was able to get a signed photo and a letterhead with GOAT, right? His thing was greatest of all times, and sent it to my daughter to show in her presentation. Well, you have to know that that was like gold for my daughter for her presentation. But my sister did it because it didn't hurt anybody, it didn't affect anybody, and this publicist had a good relationship with my sister. So it can work, but you have to ask, and you don't know if it's going to, right, unless
Oh
you do.
yeah,
But
yeah.
she
No,
yeah
it's
so
I totally understand what you're saying. My sister-in-law here, owns a really big farm in an entertainment farm in Arizona.
oh,
She knows a lot of everyone in the news and a lot of celebrities. In fact, her best friend was married to Larry King.
Oh,
So
wow.
she was friends with Larry King. She would go visit them when she was in California. So she has a lot of celebrities out to her farm. Muhammad Ali was out to her farm. Famous basketball players and baseball, and like Steve Nash was there.
He's
Cardinals,
from here, by the way. He's from here.
Fitzgerald. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So she has had a lot of celebrities on her farm. Over the years, she's known a lot of celebrities, and we don't take advantage of that. I would never take advantage of that for my own
Peanuts.
selfish reasons. And other people have said to me, "Can't you have your sister-in-law call you in a favor with the news? Can't you have the media call you in, can't you have her call you in a favor?" And I just don't like to do that. I'm not, I don't want to say, "Hey, will you call in a favor for me?" I would
Yeah.
rather say, "Hey, what could I do for you to help you with what you
Yeah.
have going on?" And then if that helps me be able to get into the media, great. But I don't want to pull the other direction. But again, if she was having the media out there and there was an opportunity for me to have to talk or to do something for her at one of her events, I would definitely not be afraid to ask, would it be okay
Mhm.
if you thought about bringing me in, or if you thought about bringing my organization over, or something like that, right? If it benefits the win-win for both of us. So I
Right.
definitely
Right.
understand that. So let's talk more about Janice, because you have so much knowledge in
Mhm.
connecting and training and helping people understand how to connect in LinkedIn. How can people get in contact with you? Because I know my listeners want to know more about you. How can they reach you to understand how you can help them with building these connections? Not everyone just gets it, not
No, I know.
everyone, can do it really, really well. And they just really need a little additional training and understanding how to do that.
And I think confidence too. They need to learn that it's okay to ask, and they need to maybe trigger some different uh, uh, ele- electrodes in their brain or something
Yeah,
that they're not used to
it's
doing.
what I talked
Um,
about this morning, isn't it? About believing in yourself and just being authentic. And that's really what it comes down to, and not being afraid to ask, but it's still there.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And also one other piece before I answer your question is that, I know that there are introverts as well as extroverts. And for an introvert, it's a little bit different, but it's still doable. And you just have to, think in the way that is comfortable for you. So I am always open for a conversation with people. They can reach me very easily on LinkedIn. Excuse me. You just put in Janice Porter and you'll find me pretty much if we are in 3 levels of connecting. And janiceporter.com is my website. I did give you earlier in the chat my booking schedule. So if someone wants to book a time with me, I am happy to have an introductory conversation with people. It's callwithjanice.com. And I don't know if this is the time, but I also have an offer that I would like to share with your audience. And that is, if people are curious about up leveling their LinkedIn or even just getting started, it all starts with an optimized profile. And I do have a free download, which again, you have the information for, where they have a 16-point checklist to know what you need to have filled in on your profile to get you going. It's always better when I work with you, but if you want to do it on your own, feel free. And they can do that by downloading that form.
well, thank you, Janice. And if you're watching this live on Facebook, it'll all be in the description section, all these links. And if you're listening to this through your podcast outlet, whichever that you listen to, then it'll just be here at the tip of your fingertips. You can just click on the link, and it'll be right there for you to be able to connect with Janice, schedule a call with her, or download her free offer, which I always say, as an entrepreneur, when we start out, we have more time than money. So I
Yeah.
suggest that you jump on and really think about um, how you can take some of these pieces that she's offered today, apply them, block some time out in your schedule to connect, whether that be networking, whether that be going onto LinkedIn and connecting with people there. It's called social media for a reason. And we tend to just pump information out one way and not really respond, go to other people's other people's groups or pages and respond or comment or share. And social means you're having a conversation back and forth. It's like social hour, right? There's other people in the room. You're not sitting in the corner by yourself in a table shouting the stuff you want to shout and then not having conversations with people. It sounds weird. But I've seen people do this, in the social media
Right.
platforms. So we wouldn't do it in person, but why would we do it, behind our keyboard?
Well, I would also like to add that I am quite excited to be involved in your upcoming, at this point, it's upcoming event, LEAP. And also, I wanted to mention that I'm very excited also about, I'm going to get involved in your Lead Up for Women organization. I think my experience so far has been that you do practice what you preach. You care about the people in your organization. And I think you have quality people in there, and that excites me. And please know that I'm coming. Okay.
Oh, we're
This summer
excited.
is crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited about jumping in with both feet. And I think that's important. And the last thing I wanted to mention about all of that is we need to engage for sure. And we need to be really aware of how we engage with people and start those conversations. But what's really important too that we forget is follow up. And that's another whole conversation, I know, but that follow up needs to be timely, and it needs to be done so people know that you do what you say you're going to do, or that you really enjoyed the beginnings and you want to continue. You need to remember to follow up, and a lot of times people don't.
No, I'm very shocked at how many people do not follow up with me at a networking event at all. And it's
Yeah.
shocking to me that I'm the only one that follows up with them. I have notebooks full of notes that I take at events, and I highlight what I remembered about that person, what impression they made on me. And that's what I use coming back with them in a comment. Maybe it's a pair of red glasses they had on, or something they said, or their attitude, whatever it was that made them stand out is what I write down and what I mention in a comment when I come back to them. Because trust me, if I'm sending you an email and I'm connecting with you or finding you on LinkedIn, it's because I truly want to connect with you. I don't waste my time trying to connect with people. I have literally been on the phone with people that have booked calls with me and started writing down who I wanted to connect them with and all this stuff. And then the phone call went sideways and I started scratching everything off. And I literally was like, knew from that point forward, I'm probably not going to connect with this person again. That's okay. That's the other thing I think that we need to remember is connect with the people that fuel you for success, that make you feel good, that are like-minded like you. Stop hanging out with the naysayers, the negative poo-pooers, all the ones that drag you the opposite direction. I don't hang out with anyone that gossips anymore, ever. If you're going to sit and just gossip, I'm out. If you're going to complain or talk about another person, I'm out. I will literally leave the room. Or I have stopped conversations at tables and said, okay, I think we need to change the subject. Like, I'm just not okay with that. And so I only want to fuel myself with people around me that make me feel good. Life is too short. So who are those people that you want to surround yourself with that make you feel good? Because they will become your big mouths. They will become your raving fans. And I mean, I'm a raving fan of Janice's, have been since the first day I met her. I've introduced her to a whole bunch of people. I've brought her into my organization. I really want her to be a part of it because she has so much to offer, so many people around her, and she's like-minded like me, and she helps me feel good. She makes me feel good. Her energy and vibration is high. So if that makes sense to anyone, start going through your circle, looking at who you're connected with. Is your vibration high when you're around them? Are you feeling anxious when you get off the phone with them? Are they dragging you down? Do you can't wait to see them again? Do you get butterflies when you're like, we're going for happy hour on Thursday, I can't wait to see you, I'm so excited, and you're texting back and forth? Those are the people you want in your life. And that does not have to be 100 of them, but who are those people that make you feel good?
But you said something that I do too, is the minute I start talking to that person like you, when I started talking to you, I immediately started thinking of people I wanted to connect you with. And that is always such a good feeling, that when you know that it's going to work, and then there's no hesitancy about it. You just know you have to do it, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Until you
both
start
learned that.
scratching them off because you're like, yep, nope, not
Yeah,
this person.
I know. I love that.
But that's okay to say that too. And I think that everyone feels like, oh, you know, kumbaya, you have to like everyone. Absolutely not. You do not. And let's
No.
just be very clear about that. Someone asked me one time, who is your competition for Lead Up for Women? And I said, there is no other women's organization that can compete with me, because I only attract women that want to be in a safe and nurturing space, want to connect with like-minded women that are similar to me, that are driven for success, that are fueled, that have authentic conversations, authentic relationships, that really want to move their business forward, that want to be seen, that want to step into the spotlight, that want to shout from the mountaintops, that want to be promoted. These are the women I attract. If you're not one of those women, you don't even want to come to my organization. So
Right.
they're
You'll
not
gobble them up.
they're not here, right? So they're in the other organizations, which is fine. And I've been to other women's organizations that I loved and joined, and now we partner together and share organizations. I've been to some women's organizations that I walked away and someone else asked me like, hey, have you been to this organization? Why didn't you join? I told them exactly why I didn't join. The feeling I got when I was there. And I brought other people with me and they felt the same way. So I knew I wasn't alone, right? But I wasn't looking to be validated. I knew in my heart in that moment, yeah, this isn't the feeling of the type of organization I want to be in. You know, people know. There have been
You
women that
know.
have unsubscribed, and when someone unsubscribes, it never hurts my feelings. When they unsubscribe, I know that I'm not for them. What I'm sending them isn't for them, or maybe that's just not the right timing, right?
Mhm.
And I'm
Yeah.
okay with that, because I
Well, it
want that
helps.
woman to find their tribe. And when
Mhm.
our vision is bigger than our own companies and the impact that you want to make in the world, like Janice's and mine, where our vision is so much larger than just what we do every day, it changes the world. So you're
Yeah.
okay when people like that don't join or walk
They make it
away.
easier for you. Yeah, it's absolutely.
Yeah, you need to attract the right customers to you. And
Mhm.
that's why I wrote a whole book on it, right? How do you attract the right clients? A lot of it, everything has to do with just being you. So if
Mhm.
you find yourself doing stuff that's not you, or listening to other people, or trying to repeat what they're doing and it's not working for you and it just feels off, stop, because you just got to do what feels right for you. So thank you, Janice. We're going to end on this note here of what we talked about. All of Janice's information is available for you at the tip of your fingers. And I just want to leave you with this one last thing. Remember, each one of you, remember this. You are the only you that has ever been. You are the only you that will ever be. I promise you, stop trying to be something you're not. Everybody else is taken. There's nothing left for you. Just be you. That's what people want. They're not looking for the perfect you. They just want you, raw, just you. And that's what they're looking for. And that's what someone's praying for. So be the best you can be. Do it. Be you and be strong about it. And that's what makes you so irresistible. So,
So
Janice,
good.
thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you all for joining us. Again, leadupforwomen.com. We hope to see you soon. Bye bye for now.
Bye.